welcome everybody to Go Beyond the Hustle's first podcast. We're trailblazing the industry with a couples podcast. Tiffany Walrack, Dan Walrack, and we're here to talk to you about Go Beyond the Hustle and personal and professional things that happened in our lives in the last 27 years.
So speaking of trailblazing, let's talk about how it all started and why we're here.
I think it started when when I was graduating and we had our graduation party. And my mentor, Jim Johnson, came up to me and offered me a job. And I looked at you and we looked at each other like, no, we're not going to do that. I've already got a job lined up. I'm going to be a physical education teacher. I'm going to be a coach. We were ready to move. We were ready to get things lined up, ready to go. And then he asked us to go to dinner one night. Remember when he asked us to go to Copper Kettle? So we decided, okay, fine, we'll go to Copper Kettle. We were young kids, no idea. And we sat at the table at Copper Kettle and he offered me a job to sell roofs.
And it sounded so crazy.
Well, it sounded way too good to be true.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
yes.
he told us, the type of money you can make in this industry and things like that. And, and we didn't understand because we were kids that just getting out of college. I worked at Menards and I worked at different places. And it was so
off of the path we had envisioned and the interviews that you had lined up and what our intent was for what our world was going to be.
Well, we just planned. I mean, for the last year and a half, 2 years of it, we were planning on what our future was going to entail. I remember at Christmases at your mom's, I was getting ties for Christmas because that's what I was going to be. I was going to be a teacher. I was going to be a coach. That was going to be our life, right? As you would say, I was going to be a glorified whistleblower.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You took a lot of classes on 47 ways to blow a whistle. Absolutely.
Exactly. But in reality, what I took in classes really is helping me in the future in the fact of coaching, and helping people better themselves and being to that top, that elite level. But who knew, right? Who knew?
Right.
And then when we did that and we made a decision that we sat down and we're like, all right, we'll just give it a couple months, 3 months, see how it works. We had a few months off before I started actually teaching and coaching. And
you packed up the car and that Monday he drove away in our Ford Taurus.
White Ford Taurus with hail damage on it.
With hail damage. And I thought, well, what do we have to lose? I was working full time and you were going to give it a try while still lining up the teaching job and getting everything situated. And I remember the first few checks that came in. Well, first of all,
we weren't sold on it.
Absolutely. No checks came in. So that was a struggle because at that point, there were no W-2s. It was 1099. Maybe you got a draw, but it was not instant money. And so it was very scary for us. We definitely went off course from what our intention for what our future was or what we thought it was going to look like. But it turned out almost 30 years later to be the best thing that could have happened to us.
And at the time, we didn't have money. So when I went down to, I think it was in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Oshkosh.
Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I lived in Appleton because we lived at a microtel. I spent a long time at a microtel, and I didn't have money to pay for the microtel. I didn't have money to do anything, and we were penny pinching the whole time, and we didn't know if it would work. And that first time, I'll never forget that first time I got that first draw check of $1,000. I mean,
which was comprised of a lot of different draws for the record.
I was down there, 4 or 5 weeks before I got the check.
A long time.
It was tough. And
right.
There was probably a half dozen times where I'd call you back and say, I think I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm coming home. I don't think this is going to work. I think we're going to do whatever.
But the first time that you called and said, I think I can do this. I think I can figure it out was the turning point for us, I think.
I think so.
And what I learned from that experience was life gives you opportunities, and there's no guarantee that you'll get more than one or how many will come your way. But it's about being open to possibilities and about taking calculated risks and chances.
Yeah.
And chasing your goals. I think that now, having done this for so long, you're at a point where you have the luxury of circling back now and coaching more.
Yeah.
Giving back more in volunteer coaching, in school district coaching, in current opportunities that are potentially coming your way for some exciting things in the coaching world, the sports coaching world. But because of the choices we made and the sacrifices we made all those years ago, and for the last 27 years, we're at a point where you can chase those dreams and pursue things that maybe you put off for some time.
I think a lot of it is the fact that we gelled on the one fact that we have that no quit mentality.
Well, we're
You
both
know?
raised that way.
And when I started doing this, there was numerous times where I wanted to quit because I just didn't think I could do it.
I'm thinking about all of the storms that you chased, and it became the norm. Like I had to wait for that phone call.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll use the example of the Streeter storm. Do you remember that storm?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
but
yeah.
by then I was becoming more versed in you traveling, because Dan spent a lot of years chasing storms to make things work. I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. We made a lot of life choices.
Yeah.
Followed the weather for some time. There came a point when we opened our own exterior restoration company. It existed for about a decade. Very successful. We did great. Our hardest and most challenging part of that was controlling the company.
I wish we would have known about PE companies back then.
Well, I don't know if they existed. Did they?
Right. I don't know.
But controlling that company and not allowing it to get too big too fast, that was the hardest thing, was to not grow too quickly.
Well, I think that's a lot of issues out there with companies now.
Absolutely.
Is they're trying to get too big too fast, and their overhead is getting too high, where if they have a down year, they can't sustain themselves throughout the winter or throughout the whatever, because they're already at a point now where they're trying to cover their overhead and they can't cover their overhead, and they either fail or they, start firing people, things like that.
Right.
What we did well, and I didn't know at the time, but we did well, is we kept it, that $6 to $10 million company.
We controlled it.
And we had the sales reps that worked for us that never left, because they understood that we weren't just, hey, sales reps, owners, we were a family.
Right.
We took vacations together. We cared about each
Well,
other.
and you were out selling with them.
Yeah, and I was out boots on the ground as an
Absolutely,
owner of
with
the
a
company.
ladder, of course. So we went through all of that. We've learned a lot about that. We'll discuss that in different podcasts, and we can share that information and what we've learned along the way. But I would say that in getting back to our background and explaining why we're here and what our intent is, we have been in the sales and exterior restoration world this will be our 27th season. I can't believe it.
Some would call us dinos.
You may call us a dino, and I own that well. First of all, I'm a paleo girl. I'm going to make paleo cool again.
I'll introduce you to Little D, by the way.
But getting back to the trailblazing and really where we are today. We've been in the industry. This will be our 27th year as a team. Of course, everyone knows Dan. He's out in the world. He's doing all of the things. He is an insurance adjuster. He is a licensed general contractor. He is who he is. Definitely a coach, both in the sports world and in the sales world, I would say. And my background comes from policy and procedure, from audit. I did residential lending. And then when we started our company, I would handle pretty much everything that Dan didn't do is what I would do. So you were out training the sales reps, you were out running appointments, you were meeting the insurance adjusters, you were handling everything in that world, and everything else behind the scenes had to fall to me. So what we learned to do really well is where your strengths were not my strengths, and then vice versa. And together, somehow we pulled it off. And I think that there would be a lot of people from back in the day that think to themselves, wow, how they put that together. But we were very intentional with that. True. I'm going to say we had many conversations where it became, if it's something I'm good at, then you don't worry about it, but you have to focus on your things. And where I saw holes in your timeline and you can't waste time doing X, Y, and Z, I learned quickly that I need to figure out how to back you up or provide support for that.
Well, and there, to be honest, I mean, getting truthful, I mean, there was times at the beginning where, truth be told, we were at each other's throats.
Of course, absolutely.
And we said this at a couple conferences that we've talked to about is, I mean, there was numerous times we were ready to have a divorce because we could not coexist because all we did was eat, sleep, and breathe work.
Right.
We didn't have a shut-off switch. We didn't have a time to say, hey, 8 o'clock, we're not talking work, because it was constant at each other until we finally figured out and we realized that there's things I'm really good at, but there's things I'm not. And there's things you're really good at, and there's things you're not. And we needed to work off each other to make sure those things coexisted to make it work for both of us.
Right. And that's where we are today, is we feel that starting a podcast, not just showing you doing what you do, that's out there.
But show behind the scenes. Show what really makes it work.
Right. Our intent with this is to trailblaze. Our intent with this is to be truthful in how it works, both people.
Exactly.
So you, the salesperson, plus your support person, your spouse, your village, your team, whoever you have in the background that helps you with everything. No one out there has conversations like this. And we want to be truthful and show this is what we've learned. This is who we are. This is what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And hopefully in sharing these conversations, we can help people get over hurdles.
Yeah.
That they're working on, or avoid hurdles altogether. We have so many decades in the industry, and while we were learning how to coexist from a work standpoint, ran a company together and handled all of that, whether you were traveling for work and chasing storms or whether you were local, at the same time we went from newlyweds to standard married life, to starting a family, and now raising teenagers. So both of those lives running parallel to each other, we had to learn how to feed off of each other and get through it all. And so having open, honest conversations in this forum, we hope will start conversations at home and show what is attainable.
And I think there was a huge mind shift when I first started off. When I first started off, I had that mindset that I was the man of the house. It was my job, it was my duty to provide for my family, and I didn't want to burden you with the stresses of what I had, right? And it's a good day, bad day, either way, I wouldn't share that with you because that was something that I held in, being like, that's something I shouldn't bring on to you as a stress factor, right? And you would ask me numerous times, hey, how was your day? How was your day? And I'd be kind of shut offish. I'd be like, hey, it was fine. It was great. Even though it was a good day or a bad day, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to burden you with those stresses. Whereas you, as my better half, were just concerned about, hey, how was your day?
Right. Because it's not a normal 9-to-5 job.
No, because
that you can just flip a switch.
Our jobs are different. And where I think things changed for us, and where I think things changed for me personally as a business, and how I went from that good sales rep to that elite sales rep, is when I was able to allow you into my world and figure out different things that I have in the process of, what can you help me out in my process to make it a little bit easier for me so I can do what I'm great at.
Right.
And in doing that and giving you the task here and a task there, and training, not really training, but teaching you the different aspects of my job of what I have to do just to help a little bit, it made you feel a part of something. So I went from that $1-2 million rep to that $2.5-3-4 million rep, just in those things that I, help me figure out.
But the difference was when you opened up and let me into the world, it became our world. And I think that that's a very valid point. And that's why we're here today.
Exactly.
It's because it is your world. Absolutely. This is what you do. But it became our world. And it turned into a 27-year world where we were able to raise a family and create a life outside of work, but still including work at a lot of times. And now it's become our way of life, truthfully.
Well, this is very important for all of you at home. I'm telling you right now, to be that elite sales rep, you have to allow your village inside your job so they understand what you're doing.
Absolutely.
It's very important, because that's one of the main questions I get asked on all the coaching and conferences and teachings I get is, how do you stay consistent being a $2.5 million rep for 25 years?
How do you learn to go beyond the hustle?
Yeah. How do you get to that point?
Right.
Well, to get to that point, you can't do that by yourself.
No.
You have to have that village around you. You have to have that support cast around you to build yourself to that point.
Absolutely. And it has to become a team mentality.
Exactly. And that's what people don't understand. They're so concerned. They're so concerned about, this is my job, I'm going to go take care of it. This is my job, I'm going to go take care of it, without allowing somebody in to help. And instead of treating it as your job, treat it as your career and bring your entire family along with you. Because because the money in this industry is outrageous. And
Yes.
you know, at the beginning, I didn't believe it. Right?
No.
I didn't
Right.
believe it. I thought, hey, you know, too good to be true, too good to be true.
Absolutely.
And then I started figuring things out, and then I kept it to myself. And then I allowed you in, and then things just, you know, spiraled from there. And
Right.
I think that was a huge mind shift that I had. I think it was probably what, the third or fourth year when I started
It took us a
figuring it out.
while. It took us a while. We are not perfect. We are not counselors. We're not psychologists. We are experts in what we've
Well,
been through
I'm a psychologist at the door.
at the door, but not as a profession.
I get you.
What we can offer is real world experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, that's what we're going to discuss in these podcasts. We're hoping to do a bunch of podcasts, short podcasts, to get them out there so people can understand that, hey, we've gone through pretty much everything that you're going to go
Right.
through as an individual, as a
Right.
sales rep, as a couple, you know. And if there's issues, problems, concerns, we want to address them here, and we've probably gone through them, and that's what we're going to discuss.
Right. We want to normalize the conversation, and we also want to give everyone who's not as far down the path as us an opportunity to create a conversation at home.
Yes.
So I think that communication is key. I think we're at a point where we're not intimidated to share what we know. That's our purpose at this point. We've done a lot of things and we've been very successful. And we're at a point where sharing and contributing and making an industry and just making people in general better and to be a better human is important to us. That's where we want to become. That's what we want to become known for. We want to be leaders in it. But it's not just about, and you can tune in, you can take Dan's classes, he can come train your company, he can do all of those things. This is a completely separate side, it's a softer side, and it's starting to normalize this, which no one does. It's 27 years of making mistakes.
Yes, a lot of them.
Of some not so pretty moments, of figuring things out, and
just basically sharing our experiences.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so much in 27 years that we can talk about that. I mean, and doing these podcasts and hopefully someday writing a book, right? And sharing these things where people want to know. I mean, especially that sales reps have been doing this for 5-6 months. They need to understand, is this their job choice or is this their career choice?
Right.
And in us sharing our experiences and letting them know that it's not all going to be easy.
Right.
There's going to be tough times. There's going to be burnout times. There's going to be things where you're going to want to quit.
Right. Absolutely.
But do you have the mentality to not quit?
Right.
That's on you.
And do you have the people around you to
support you,
raise you up, encourage you to keep going, sometimes pull some extra weight while you take a breath.
Right.
And we just want to create an opportunity to normalize these conversations that we have and have had for 27 years. No one else does it. No one else can talk about it, but we have the decades behind us. And I feel like this is our opportunity to give bite-sized pieces of information, bite-sized podcasts, if you will, that you can watch while you're waiting for an adjuster to show up. Yeah. You can watch while you're waiting to pick up your kid from practice, or that you dedicate some time on a Sunday afternoon to tuning in and watching together and maybe starting some conversations, normalizing our interactions. Yeah. And that it takes work at the home side, at the support level, whatever your village looks like. It takes everyone being on board in order to go beyond the hustle. Yeah. In order to push through and hitting that first ceiling and getting to elite numbers. There's a lot that goes into it.
Well, and I think the main thing that we want to talk about is go beyond the hustle. You know, that's where we started, and we want to go out and teach, train, coach, and everything like that. But the main theme of Go Beyond the Hustle is what we've been preaching for the last 27 years is just straight out being a good human.
Absolutely. In your personal life, in your business life, in the thoughts you have in your head about having the correct intentions and raising good humans, right?
I think you hit it on the head about having the right intentions. I mean, I've said this since the beginning. I said, honest gosh truth, I think what makes it work for us is, or for me myself out in the sales aspect of, is always having that belief that you're pursuing the homeowner's best interest, not your own.
And your community's best interest.
And if you have that firm belief, and that work ethic to do it,
Right.
the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for checking us out. Go Beyond the Hustle, the podcast. We are really excited for this new journey, for normalizing conversations, not only with the salesperson in the world, but with their village. And we look forward to sharing a lot of growth as we go along. We have some exciting opportunities in the future coming our way. So make sure that you tune in. You can find us on all the platforms. We do offer online classes every month. If you would like to spend some classroom time with Dan,
just head up to gobeyondthehustle.com, check out the classes, and sign up for the classes. It's a pretty good time. We'll answer any questions you may have in regards to basically sales, retail, adjuster training, anything you have in the insurance industry or sales industry. I'm here to help you out.
So here we go. Go Beyond the Hustle, the podcast. You can find Dan and myself on all of the social media platforms. We have online classes where you can be in a live classroom with Dan every single month, ask him questions. That can be found on gobeyondthehustle.com. And above all else, as we start this conversation and we trailblaze into a new part of sharing and communicating in the sales and contracting world, I want to remind everyone, above all else, be a good human.